In 1962, Alcatraz prison stood as one of the most secure prisons in the world. Known as the Rock, it was located on a secluded island in San Francisco Bay. The prison housed some of the most dangerous criminals in the United States and was infamous for its harsh security measures that made escape seem impossible. Despite this, one of the most remarkable prison breaks in history occurred here, an escape that baffled authorities for decades. This is the story of Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, who masterminded and executed the legendary Great Escape from Alcatraz. Frank Morris, the brains behind the plan, was a man of exceptional intelligence. He had grown up in a tough environment and learned to rely on his wits to survive, eventually turning to a life of crime. After a series of robberies and successful escapes from other prisons, Morris found himself sent to Alcatraz. John and Clarence Anglin, the other key players in this daring escape, were seasoned criminals with a knack for breaking out of confinement. They were raised in a family of farmers in Georgia and were convicted of bank robbery before being transferred to Alcatraz. The plan began to take shape when the trio discovered that the walls of their cells opened onto a narrow utility corridor. Using makeshift tools such as stolen metal spoons and a crude drill fashioned from an old vacuum cleaner motor, they started chiseling away at the walls. They worked meticulously during the night, using the prison's ambient noise to mask their efforts. To conceal the holes they made, they covered them with cardboard panels and magazine clippings, working diligently over several months. But digging through walls was only the first step. The men needed a way to escape the island once they were out of the prison. Over time, they collected raincoats and stitched them together to create a crude inflatable raft. Using threads and adhesives scavenged from prison materials, they constructed a vessel that they hoped would carry them across the treacherous waters of San Francisco Bay. They also devised a clever way to fool the guards during their escape. They sculpted dummy heads from soap, papier-mâché, and real hair collected from the prison barbershop. These decoys were placed in their beds to give the illusion that they were still sleeping while they worked on their escape plan. On the night of June 11, 1962, the moment of truth arrived. After months of preparation, the three men crawled through the holes they had carved into their cell walls, entering the narrow corridor behind. They climbed up the prison walls to reach the roof and used a vent pipe to descend to the ground outside. From there, they made their way to the shore, inflated their makeshift raft, and paddled into the cold, choppy waters of the bay. The next morning, their absence was discovered, triggering one of the largest manhunts in prison history. Police and Coast Guard teams scoured the bay, searching for any sign of the escapees. Authorities found fragments of the raft and some personal belongings floating in the water, leading them to believe that the men had drowned in their attempt to cross the bay. However, the mystery didn't end there. While no bodies were ever recovered, evidence and eyewitness reports surfaced over the years suggesting that the three men might have survived. In 2013, authorities received a mysterious letter purportedly written by John Anglin.